There is a part of you that notices long before you can explain why. It stirs when you walk into a room and feel a sudden tightness in your chest, or when someone speaks and their words seem right, but their tone carries something hollow. This noticing is subtle, almost silent, and yet it is the most ancient and trustworthy part of you. The unconscious sees far more than your rational mind ever can. While your conscious mind focuses on what is obvious and linear, the unconscious is absorbing everything. The micro expressions, the flicker of tension in someone's smile, the sudden chill in the air, the way shadows gather in the corners of a place. It pieces together a pattern faster than logic can follow, and it speaks to you not in words but in sensations. This is why when something is wrong, your body often knows before your mind does. But what most people do when this whisper rises is dismiss it. They tell themselves they are overreacting, being dramatic, imagining things. They make themselves stay in environments that feel wrong just because nothing explicitly bad has happened yet. This is the tragedy of living cut off from the unconscious. We forget that our deepest knowing does not arrive as proof, but as feeling. To ignore these signals is to sever the bridge between your conscious ego and the vast wisdom of your psyche. You cannot reason your way into safety if you will not first listen to the instinct that tells you when you are in danger. Trusting the whisper is not about paranoia or fearfulness. It is about reverence. It is about understanding that your psyche has carried within it the memory of countless generations who survived not by waiting for evidence, but by sensing the unseen. This instinct lives in your nervous system like an ancient guardian. When it stirs, it is not trying to control you, it is trying to keep you whole. The world will often encourage you to doubt this inner voice. It will praise rationality, demand explanations, and ask for proof. But the unconscious does not owe the world an explanation. It owes you protection. Your duty is not to convince others why something feels wrong. Your duty is to act as if your soul's safety matters more than their approval. And yes, acting on this kind of intuition will sometimes make you feel alone. You will leave rooms that everyone else remains in. You will walk away from people others admire. You will sense danger in what others call opportunity. This can be isolating because the world teaches us to trust collective appearances over private truths. But becoming who you truly are requires that you walk your own path, even when it diverges from the crowd. The moment you feel that subtle dissonance, that whisper of something is off, you are standing at a crossroads. Betray yourself to belong, or trust yourself and risk being misunderstood. Only one of these paths leads to wholeness. You might fear that trusting the whisper will make you seem fragile, overly sensitive, or mistrustful. But sensitivity is not weakness, it is precision. It is the ability to perceive what others are too numbed or distracted to notice. A person who notices early can walk away with their spirit intact. A person who ignores the signs will stay until the damage is visible, and by then they are often too entangled to leave easily. The cost of dismissing your intuition is always greater than the cost of heeding it. The unconscious does not warn you for no reason. When you feel something is wrong, it is not a flaw in your character. It is your soul trying to survive. The more you listen to these quiet signals, the stronger they become. Your psyche learns that you will respond to its warnings, and it begins to speak more clearly. You start to feel a grounded clarity when something is not meant for you. There is no panic, only knowing. You can walk away without drama because you trust that this inner compass will guide you somewhere truer. And every time you do this, every time you choose to trust the whisper over the noise, you are strengthening the bridge between your conscious mind and your unconscious wisdom. That bridge is the path by which you become fully yourself. So when that whisper comes, do not debate it endlessly. Do not demand that it present evidence like a lawyer in a courtroom. Do not wait until the discomfort becomes pain, until the subtle becomes catastrophic. Leave before your soul is forced to scream. Leave in quiet trust that your psyche sees further than your eyes. This is not cowardice, it is devotion. It is the highest form of self-respect, to believe your own inner warning and walk away while your spirit is still whole. Because what you are protecting is not just your safety, but the sanctity of the life you are becoming. There is a deep wound that forms when you abandon yourself just to remain acceptable in the eyes of others. Many people carry this wound without even realizing it, because they were taught from an early age that belonging is survival, that to be part of a group is safer than standing alone. So they learn to silence their discomfort, suppress their instincts, and wear masks that please others even as their inner world begins to fracture. They stay in relationships that dull their spirit, in groups that mock their authenticity, in places that feel wrong to their soul, because they fear what might happen if they walk away. Yet what they do not see is that every time they choose to stay in an environment that harms them just to appear loyal, they are committing a quiet act of self-betrayal. To betray yourself for the comfort of others may win you temporary acceptance, but it costs you something far more precious, the trust you have in your own soul. Once you begin overriding your inner truth, you teach yourself that your own needs, boundaries, and instincts are negotiable. This erodes the foundation of your being. Over time, you start to feel hollow, like you are living someone else's life, because in many ways you are. The part of you that longs for freedom, honesty, and growth is forced into exile so that the version of you who conforms can survive. But no amount of external approval can soothe the ache of abandoning yourself. There is no applause loud enough to silence the whisper that says, "This is not who I am." Loyalty to others becomes poisonous when it requires disloyalty to yourself. True loyalty does not demand the death of your spirit, yet many people mistake self-sacrifice for love, thinking that staying loyal to a person or place, even when it crushes them, is noble. It is not. It is fear disguised as virtue. Staying in environments that diminish you does not make you strong. It makes you invisible to yourself. You start shrinking your voice, dulling your light, lowering your standards, all to preserve a connection that depends on your self-erasure. This is not love, and it is not belonging. It is imprisonment. Real belonging can only exist when you are free to be fully yourself. If the price of connection is the abandonment of your soul, what you have is not connection, it is captivity. Walking away from what diminishes you is not betrayal of others. It is an act of radical honesty. It is choosing to believe that your wholeness matters more than their comfort. And yes, people may call you selfish when you do this. They may accuse you of disloyalty because they benefited from your silence and compliance. But you are not responsible for sustaining relationships that depend on your self-destruction. You are responsible for keeping your spirit intact. There is a point where staying becomes more dangerous than leaving. When you deny your truth long enough, your inner world begins to rebel. Anxiety, numbness, depression, and resentment grow like roots in your psyche. These are not flaws, they are symptoms of the soul's revolt against self-betrayal. Your spirit will not quietly accept captivity forever. It will find ways to make you leave through restlessness, breakdown, or even crisis if you refuse to walk away willingly. That is why it is far more compassionate to yourself and far less destructive to choose departure before your spirit is forced to shatter the cage. When you choose to leave environments that suffocate your essence, you reclaim your loyalty and place it where it belongs, within. You are saying to your own soul, "I will not abandon you to be accepted." I will not sacrifice your becoming to soothe someone else's fears. This is an act of courage, and it is also an act of love. It allows the exiled parts of you to return, the parts you hid to be liked or tolerated. Slowly, your vitality comes back. Your voice strengthens. Your presence sharpens. You no longer feel like a ghost in your own life because you are no longer betraying the living truth inside you. Walking away from what diminishes you is not abandonment, it is alignment. It is the moment you stop being at war with yourself just to keep the peace with others. You will lose people, yes, but you will gain your soul. And what you gain in that return is far greater than what you lose, because when you are loyal to yourself, you become capable of authentic love. You can finally meet others without fear of disappearing inside them. You can offer connection not from hunger, but from wholeness. And that kind of connection, the kind rooted in truth rather than self erasure, is the only kind that can nourish your life. Strength is often misunderstood. Many people believe it means enduring whatever comes, standing unshaken even when the ground beneath them is crumbling. They think that staying in environments that drain them is a sign of resilience, that swallowing pain is proof of courage. But true strength is not measured by how long you can endure what harms you. It is measured by your willingness to walk away from what diminishes your spirit. Leaving is not failure. Leaving is the refusal to sacrifice your vitality on the altar of endurance. There is a certain pride that comes with surviving difficult situations. You convince yourself that because you can withstand the pain, you must. You tell yourself that if you just try harder, love harder, prove yourself more, things will change. And perhaps you even fear that if you leave, it will mean you were weak, that you could not handle what others seem to tolerate. But the truth is, staying when everything in you is fading is not strength. It is a slow surrender of your essence. It is choosing erosion over growth. There is no valor in slowly becoming a shadow of yourself to prove your toughness to those who do not see your light. Real strength requires clarity. It requires the courage to see when something is no longer nourishing you, no matter how familiar it is. Familiarity can be seductive. It convinces you that what is known is safe, even when it is quietly suffocating you. Walking away from that false sense of safety is one of the hardest things a soul can do. It means stepping into uncertainty, trusting the unknown more than the known cage. That is what makes it strength, not the absence of fear, but the choice to honor your life even while fear trembles in your bones. When you choose to leave what diminishes you, you are not giving up. You are choosing yourself. And choosing yourself is not selfish, it is sacred. It is a declaration that your spirit is worth protecting, that your life deserves to be more than just survival. So many people stay in places that deplete them because they confuse strength with endurance. They think that walking away is quitting, when in truth it is the highest form of self-respect. You cannot thrive where your soul is being starved. No amount of endurance can transform a barren place into fertile ground. There will always be voices that tell you to stay. They will call your departure impulsive, dramatic, or disloyal. But those voices are not living inside your skin. They do not feel the way your energy wilts or how your dreams begin to wither. They do not carry the weight of your fading spirit. Only you can feel that, and only you can decide that your well-being matters more than their expectations. Strength means being willing to disappoint others to stay true to yourself. It means choosing to protect your life force, even if no one else understands why. And yes, leaving can be painful. It can feel like tearing away a part of yourself, especially if you have tied your identity to the place or the people you are walking away from. But pain is not proof that you are wrong to leave. Pain often means you are releasing something that was never truly yours, something you outgrew but clung to out of habit or fear. The pain will pass, but the return of your vitality will not. With time, you will notice your spirit beginning to breathe again. Your energy will rise, your creativity will awaken, your joy will quietly return, and you will realize this is what strength was meant to do, not harden you, but free you. Strength is not staying where you are dying just to prove that you can survive. Strength is walking away so you can truly live. It is having the courage to say, this is not where my spirit can flourish, and to leave even when your legs are shaking. It is trusting that you are not abandoning the life you were meant for. You are stepping toward it. Every act of leaving what diminishes you is a step back toward your own wholeness. That is strength, not endurance of harm, but devotion to your becoming. When you walk away from what suffocates your spirit, something profound happens. You create space for transformation. So often people cling to situations that no longer nourish them because they are terrified of emptiness. They fear that if they let go of what is hurting them, there will be nothing left, just a hollow silence where life used to be. But this silence is not a void to be feared. It is the fertile ground from which renewal grows. Transformation cannot occur in overcrowded soil. Your soul cannot bloom where it is being smothered. Sometimes the only way to find the life meant for you is to clear away everything that keeps you from reaching for it. Letting go is an act of trust. It means believing that what lies ahead, though unseen, holds more truth than what you are leaving behind. This trust does not come easily. The human mind clings to the familiar even when the familiar is painful, because at least it feels known. Yet transformation lives in the unknown. It lives in the space that opens when you stop forcing yourself to fit into places that do not honor your essence. This space may feel like loss at first, but it is actually possibility. It is the blank canvas where your soul can finally paint in its true colors without being told they are too bright or too strange. The life that wants to emerge from you cannot do so while you are entangled in what diminishes you. Old patterns, toxic relationships, draining environments, these things consume your energy just to keep surviving them. They leave you with no strength left for growth. When you walk away, the energy that was once spent on enduring begins to return to you. You find yourself thinking new thoughts, dreaming new dreams, noticing subtle sparks of aliveness where before there was only exhaustion. This is the beginning of transformation, not a sudden explosion, but a quiet reawakening, as if your spirit is stretching its limbs after years of being cramped in a cage. Transformation also requires emptiness, because who you are becoming cannot be built on the ruins of who you pretended to be. If you carry all your old masks and compromises with you, there is no room for your real self to emerge. Walking away is not just leaving an outer situation, it is shedding an inner identity. It means saying, I am no longer willing to be the version of myself that survives here. That version served you once, perhaps even protected you, but now it is too small for your spirit. Releasing it may feel like death, but it is actually rebirth. The pain you feel when you let go is the cracking of the shell that kept you from growing. Many people never experience their transformation because they are too afraid to create this space. They wait for the new life to appear before they leave the old one, not realizing that the new cannot arrive until the old is gone. Life will not pour new wine into a full vessel. You must empty first. The paradox is that when you finally do, when you stand in that terrifying open space with nothing familiar to cling to, you will begin to feel something powerful rising quietly from within, a sense of possibility, of vastness, of freedom. This is your soul preparing to unfold. As you move through this space, transformation will not announce itself loudly. It will come in subtle shifts, the way your body feels lighter, the way your thoughts become clearer, the way you suddenly notice beauty where you once saw only monotony. These are signs that life is returning to you. The path ahead will not reveal itself all at once, but piece by piece, as you become strong enough to walk it. And as you do, you will understand that leaving what suffocated you was never about loss. It was about creating sacred space for your real life to finally take root. Walking away is not an ending. It is a clearing. It is the act of sweeping away what is false so that what is true can grow. Transformation does not ask you to know exactly what comes next. It only asks that you be brave enough to create the space where it can happen. When you do, you discover that what felt like emptiness was actually the presence of your becoming, waiting patiently for you to make room. There comes a point when you must understand that not every battle is meant to be fought, not every wound deserves to be reopened, and not every place that once held your heart still deserves your presence. Life constantly offers you signs, subtle or loud, that something has shifted, something no longer aligns with the deeper truth of your being. To stay where you are not meant to be is to slowly suffocate the spirit under the weight of what no longer fits. When you notice that something is draining you more than nourishing you, that the air grows heavier when you enter rather than lighter, that is your soul whispering that this space is no longer your sanctuary. And when that whisper comes, it is an act of profound self-respect to rise and leave, even if you do not yet know where you are going. For staying is often easier for the body, but leaving is necessary for the soul. This act of departure is not an escape, but an honoring of your inner compass, the part of you that knows long before your mind catches up that something vital is dying where you stand. The most dangerous thing is not the pain itself, but the normalization of it, the way you can grow accustomed to the absence of warmth, to walking on shards as though they are the only road. You can begin to call it strength, when in truth it is stagnation, a paralysis wrapped in the costume of loyalty. But loyalty is only sacred when it does not ask you to betray yourself, when a place, person, or situation continually forces you to silence your voice, dim your light, or disown your truth. Just to belong, you are not loved there. You are tolerated only for as long as you abandon who you really are. And the longer you remain, the more you begin to forget the shape of your own essence, until one day you look in the mirror and cannot recognize the eyes staring back. This is why, when you notice it, you must leave immediately, not with rage or resentment, but with reverence for the life that still burns within you. You owe that life your allegiance before you owe it to anyone or anything else. It is not cowardice to walk away. It is the highest form of courage. Courage is not only the fire that confronts the external storm, it is also the quiet resolve that says, I will not abandon myself here. So often we wait for permission to go, for validation that it is okay to outgrow something that once felt like home. But home is not a fixed place. It is the resonance between your inner world and your outer surroundings. When that resonance is gone, when the chords no longer sing in harmony, the structure becomes just walls and noise. To stay after that is to live as an exile in your own life. Leaving is how you return to yourself. Leaving is how you declare that your inner wholeness is more important than any external approval. The path ahead may be uncertain, but uncertainty is not the enemy. Stagnation is. The unknown can awaken your spirit, while the familiar can quietly erase it. Many people will not understand your departure. They will call it impulsive, selfish, dramatic. They will not see that what you are leaving is not merely a place or person, but the version of yourself who settled for less than she was born for. They will not feel the silent wars you fought within, the quiet grief of knowing you were shrinking while smiling. But you do not need their understanding. You need your own freedom. When you walk away, you are not seeking to prove anything. You are seeking to preserve the essence that makes your life truly alive. And yes, there will be fear in the leaving. The mind will craft illusions of catastrophe. What if I never find something better? What if I am alone forever? What if I regret this? But fear is often the final guardian at the threshold of transformation. Move through it, and on the other side is not chaos but clarity. The ground will appear under your feet once you have the audacity to step where there is none. And when you leave, leave fully. Do not drag the ghost of what was into the soil of what is becoming. Cut the thread cleanly, even if it trembles in your hands. Closure is not something you are given. It is something you create by choosing yourself. Do not linger in doorways, peeking back through the crack to see if they miss you, if they finally understand your worth. That is not healing. That is self-abandonment in disguise. True healing begins the moment you stop waiting for them to see you and start seeing yourself. You may mourn what could have been, but you must not let the mourning become your new home. Carry only the lessons, not the weight. Leave behind the fragments that were never yours to hold, and let your hands be empty enough to receive what is meant for you next. The world is vast, and your spirit was never meant to be caged in a space that asks you to make yourself smaller. Life has chapters still unwritten, landscapes of experience awaiting your arrival. The sooner you release what has ended, the sooner you can meet what is destined. There is no honor in enduring what depletes you, no prize for staying where your soul withers. Honor lies in the refusal to betray your inner knowing. The moment you notice that something is not aligned, leave, not slowly, not eventually, but immediately. For every second you stay, you are teaching yourself that your pain is acceptable, that your essence is negotiable, and it is not. You are not meant to merely survive the spaces you inhabit. You are meant to come alive in them. When you notice the life draining from you, step away and breathe again. Let that breath guide you into the vast unknown, which is not empty, but full of every version of you still waiting to be born.